big night tonight. We've got some gemstone pay dirt bags to give away. We've got some panning stuff to give away. So let's get onto it and get things moving along. Righto guys, big night tonight. Robert's here and Bruce is here. Not seeing everyone on the YouTube yet, but they are coming along, I would think. So we've got all the comments rolling. Things look like they're actually working, which is sensational. So welcome everyone. Big night tonight. Paulie's there on YouTube. I know that's working. Excellent. So guys, welcome. Last week with Anzac Day I didn't have a show. This Monday night's Labor Day, so I'm a bit casual. Got me boardies on today, just a chill out day at home today. So I've been spending a lot of time at the lease. I think we finally got that plant perfect. Well, I hope so. Got a new spray bar in it last week, so excellent news. Tonight's prizes. They're actually a brand new product that have been available for a while. Well, actually, this is not a brand new product. This is our little mini panning kit. So everyone gets a little mini, well, not everyone, but YouTube and Facebook get a little mini panning kit as the prize tonight. So in the panning kit is a snuffer bottle, a little magnifying card thing, a little vial, and a little squeezy tweezer jobby in a great little bag. So that's not the new product. We've had them for ages. They're quite a reasonable thing at $39. However, this is a bit of a new product. Our gemstone bags we're giving away. We're going to throw one of them in each kit. So yes, little bag of gemstones. Great for the kids. A lot of tumble stones in them and stuff. So it's really quite a cool little thing. They're available on the website. Few different sizes. Yes, so we're doing a bit more of this sort of stuff at the moment. We've got we'll in the next week, right, we're going to do we've got some pay dirt bags coming out that have got fossils in them, all sorts of cool fossils. A couple of shark teeth. Not out yet, fossilized shark teeth. So they're very cool. So yeah, Jay's there from the lease. G'day Jay, watching the show live from on the lease. So we might actually do the show from the lease next week, but we'll see how that goes. So no gold in the gemstone bags, just gemstones. Keep an eye out for these fossil things. I'm going to do these fossil bags up for the kids and what have you. Very cool stuff. The gemstone bags, the more expensive gemstone bags actually have like geodes and mineral specimens in them, so they'll be substantially better than some of those other bags that are around the place. So we're going to do some cool stuff there. Need to apologise to Gem Q. Gem Q was going to be on the show last week and I wasn't feeling up to it, so my apologies, guy. He spent a lot of time on the 6000, so we were going to get his take on that. We actually, I actually got a little video. I have on purpose not done any, not done any comparison videos yet on the 6000. I want to do. Like if I put out a review of it, of the 6000, a comparison to it, it'll be seen as biased. There's a lot of the other videos are being seen as biased and what have you. But in saying that, tonight I've got a little clip of one target. It's not even gold, right? One target on the lease. Against, I didn't have a 5 out there, I had a 7 SDC and a 6 out there. In the settings that I run it at, okay? So, um, so it's not factory settings. It's not anything like that. It's how I run stuff in the bush. So yeah, so it's a much different different thing. Now I've got to apologise to Nikki. Nikki Bailey's here. I didn't have a mug. I haven't got one of Nikki's mugs. I was supposed to use Nikki's mugs from CPFF, whatever it is, tonight. But yeah, I said to Nikki I would, but I couldn't. So yeah, so cool. Righto, so let's get straight into it. And nice picture in the background. Yeah, this is on the way out to the lease the other morning. So I had to pull up, get fuel, and this was in the background. So yeah, so righto. So it was a big night tonight of questions and answers. So if you've got questions, throw them in the feed. I'll try and get to them. We're also going to have a look at Oz at War, because we haven't done a lot of Relic stuff talking about the 6000. I'm a bit bored of talking about the 6000. Not that I'm bored with it, but so if you have got any questions, I'm going to try and scroll through all the questions and pick out some beauties and answer some later on in the show. So what we might do to start with, to get the 6000 out of the way, is we might actually just throw that video up of the 6000 on the lease in a cut, right? So this machine, this is probably the most surprising result that I've seen with the 6000. Now, this is just raw footage, right? So I don't think we swear in it, but bear in mind I had a GoPro on my chest. Okay, the 7000 speaker was hooked to the harness. Okay, just above the GoPro, so we could hear it, because I find it a bit quiet just with the module. So 7000 running a 12-inch nugget finder coil. SDC running the small Coil Tech coil, the 10x5 or whatever it is, and the 6000 running the 11-inch coil. Okay, now it's seriously how I run the machines. It's not factory. It's not anything like that. It's just how I run the machines in the bush. So I run quite a low threshold on I run a high sensitivity on the 7000, so I'm at like 12, 13. I pull the noise down a bit with a low threshold. So, but pretty much standard. And you'll see the SDC, and then I explain a little bit about the whatchamacallit, the 6. So I'll put that on now. It runs for about a couple of minutes. Yeah. So I'll put that on now, and we'll come back. Righto, guys. Here we go. 12-inch nugget finder. Right, we can hear that with the 7. We couldn't hear that really with the SDC. That wouldn't pull you up in the bush with the SDC, but it would with the 7. No doubt about it. So we'll turn the 7 off and select a different weapon. Right, here we go. Here's the 6000, of course, 11-inch coil. It's actually a good target, this one, because we couldn't hear that with the SDC. So even flat out on 5. We'll wait for it to settle down. It does that at every startup. It does that. Provide my own sound effects. I should get paid more. So That's a clear target with that machine.
It is a clear target.
It is a clear target. Now, I just want to just double check this before we dig it out. Let me just turn this SDC back on and see if I can get that target, because it was the first machine. Now I know that where that target is, we can...
Now you know where it is.
Yeah. Let me just see if we can get it here, because this is the trick. We want to know what these things can do. Now this is on 5 still. 5 still. Right. And then we'll run it to 3. Right. It's there, but you're not, that's not pulling you up in the bush. Let's try running this. Oh no, I pushed the... Let's turn this off and back on, because I pushed the noise cancel instead of the threshold. I want to run the threshold up. Everyone tells me you get a better response with the threshold up. So it's there, but it's barely, it wouldn't pull you up in the bush. Right, so let's run this. I normally run the threshold at 3, but everyone says, oh, I run it at full noise. Right, this is full noise. That's probably worse at full noise. And then if I run that threshold down at 1, so that's the lowest threshold, right? Neither of them are pulling you up in the bush. Righto, let's get him out with the... I'll go the 6 because it's fast becoming the favourite. And Jay's gonna do the digging here.
I think it's only small, mate.
I think it's small, but
it was a good test.
Isn't that's a great test, because that STC should nail that. If it is small, whether it be a bucket shaving or not, it doesn't matter. This is a great test. Yeah, that's a definite target there. Let's hope it's deep. That's why the SDC couldn't hear it, eh? If it's deep, we're on something. Yeah, that SDC wouldn't stop you in the bush, right? But that's a really clear target, isn't it? Yeah.
Slither or goal, either way, it's a target.
Yeah. I think it's under that rock there. Of course it's under the rock.
Made that look easy, didn't I?
I did. It's your immense strength. It always amazes the viewers. Like some Adonis. It's out. Just in there. Oh, first scoop. How's the form? What have we got there? So that's a decent sized bucket scrape. You have a look at that, right? That's a bucket scraping, right? That's a decent sized bucket scraping for the SDC not to make a noise on, right? Like, okay, maybe it was sitting on the edge, but normally they scream. That's a very, very interesting test, that. Righto, so there you go. Now, there are... So that's a very, very interesting target. It wasn't gold, but that was a big bit of iron off the bucket of the excavator, off the tracks of the excavator. And yeah, it's just it's amazing. That what I will say is, I think Paul Bella is in the comments there, and he said what I'm finding is that it's a much, much sharper target response. There is just no doubt. I was surprised the SDC didn't pick that because that was a big lump. You know, so it's certainly a sharper target response. What we haven't tested, and I don't know whether it's the we haven't tested yet on any deep targets to see how it performs. Now, apparently the 7 performs much better than the 6, but that's still something we've got to check out in a live target in the ground. So, yes. Now, there's a question about 45s and 5s. Lots of questions about 45 and 5s. I'm not your comparison man. I'll be coming much later down the track with comparisons on 45s and 5s after everyone's done it. Because if I do something, it'll be seen as biased because I'm selling them. However, the problem with it and why no one's doing it is that you've got, what coil do you put it up against? What settings do you use? What, like 45, 5,000, like, it is such a complicated machine to compare it with. It's a very difficult machine to compare it with. So, like, you could probably put, like my 45, I ran a 12-inch nugget finder, pretty standard set, pretty standard settings. See, already there, Michael's got a good question. What would happen if you use the original coil with the SDC? Well, yes. And there's 4 coils, really, that I could have chosen from for the SDC. So how my approach to that was this is how I use the machines in the bush, right? I use that little coil. I use the 12-inch nugget finder on the Z, right? So, yeah, that's how it is, sort of thing. So it's very, very difficult to compare them. The first one that comes out the first person that does it will just get caned to say, you're not running your 5,000 right. You got the wrong coil on it. You should try it with this coil. You should try it with that coil. So it's, it's very hard. Gem Q's got saddling up to do a comparison this weekend. So, he's doing the 7 at the depth of the 7 sort of thing. So, yeah. So, it's a very, very difficult thing to compare. So, right, was there any questions there? The other thing too is that's a working lease. So we've got to stop to do these videos. So switching coils is very, very hard, all that sort of thing. What I do notice with it is it's quite jittery. It gets out of noise cancel. You got to noise cancel it very, very frequently, but it only takes a couple of seconds, so it's not really there. But I think if I was to look at the performance of it, I would think obviously it's a very expensive machine, but I would think it's probably better than a 5,000, not quite as good as the 7. That's where I think it sits. People will cane me over it, but yeah. So, yeah. Righto. AT Max would have found it, yeah, possibly. So pull back, exactly. Been picking up dozens. The 5,000 STC missed. Yes, you will pick up targets that they miss. There's no doubt about that. I've done it so many times. So I can only talk about my local area. So I went to the puddler with it, right? And the puddler at Warwick, right? And it seriously, I left because I dug. Let me just turn this stupid noise off here. I dug because I left because I dug in 2 hours 50 shotgun pellets. Right now, 50. I didn't find any gold, but 50 shotgun pellets. I stopped at 50. Right. Now that has to be the most detected spot in all of Warwick. I shouldn't have found any of those. So, like, if I had kept going, I would have found gold. There was no doubt in my mind about that. But it was ridiculous. So, yes. Right. Now, let's say... And Minelab have never bought out a crap gold machine, not for the last, yeah. So, it's good. Matty, how often do I replace the teeth on the excavator? It's actually those bucket shavings. We call them bucket shavings, but they're more off the tracks of the excavator than the bucket. The bucket teeth, we're running. I think they call them tiger teeth. They've got 2 claws on each teeth, so we've got 8 claws. And that, although we wear them out, we probably get. I've replaced one set since I've been out there. But that allows us, because the gold's sitting on the bedrock, that allows us to take the top of the bedrock because there's lots of there's lots of gold sitting in that top couple of inches, so we try and take that. So, Justin says, I thought detecting on puddlers is illegal. I don't think it is, but I was detecting like in the puddler's area, not in the puddler. I would cane anyone I would cane anyone. I would give them stick about pulling that puddler apart because it's still timber and what have you. So, yes. No, I wasn't in the puddler. I was around that area. It's a bit of a landmark at Warwick. So, yeah. So, right. Now, Jim Q talks about, Sam asks about whether 6,000 can be updated. It can be updated, but I believe that those plugins, like for the 7, like the SDCs, and now the 3030s, are more about if there's a problem, they can get in there and fix it, right? So I don't think you're going to get upgrades. I don't think it's going to get a better machine down the road. Like, for instance, like XP do. XP, you've got one machine for 10 years and you just keep updating it. So I don't think I don't think they're updatable like... Well, they are updatable like that, but I don't think Minelab will, so... Right. Is the lease worthwhile, Ben? Yeah, well, Craig, it's cost me a stack of money, at least, to be honest with you. But hopefully in the next couple of days, we've finally, I hope to God, we've got that plant now at about 20 tonne an hour. Yeah, so hopefully we can start making a bit of a profit there. So, yeah, so, yeah, Aussie Alchemist, yep, leave the puddle and Danbury alone. It's all historical. Absolutely. I've actually got I found an old pick in the bush, and well, it's a half rusted out shovel that I've got to drop up to Danbury at some stage with a bottle of Stone's ginger. So, so if you're out that way in the next sort of 4 weeks or so, I'll make my way up there and drop those things off for him, the old shovel and the pick and what have you. So hopefully it'll give me a bit more luck with helping old Dan Bray out there. So, you can get a good... Okay, here's Zoran. Zoran asks a good question. You can get a good second-hand 5,000 for around 4K. The 6,000 worth the 4K difference. Well, that's a budget question, mate. That's a very, very... I believe it's a better machine. I do believe it's a better machine. Let's be honest here. The 5,000 is 12-year-old tech. 12, 13 years old, right? In 12 or 13 years, they have improved machines. So the 6,000 is going to be a better machine. So, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Sam's been out with his said seven times the last 2 weeks, no gold. Well, you're in the wrong spot, Sam. Have you panned to make sure there's gold in those gullies you're working in? So, yes. Walkabout prospecting. Hey Ben, what type of gold is the lease? Fine or chunky? It's mostly chunky. Actually, if I don't have another video, but I can actually show you. I've got some in the car, I think. Yeah, I've got some in the car that, yeah. So, yeah. Lots of people talking about backfilling holes. If you dig a hole, right, it takes like a 1/12 of the energy to fill it in, right? It takes no energy to fill a hole back in once you've gone to the effort and dug it out. Fill your holes in. Very, very simple. So, fill your holes in. So, the Z, so Berserk on YouTube asks, how old is the 7,000 years? I think it came out about 5 years ago. Might be 5 or 6 years ago. So, yes. Yes. DP Motors. What's happening with the Carrara Nugget Hunt? It's all up in the air at the moment. Donnie's having a well-deserved break. So Donnie's not involved in the Nugget Hunt. He may be... We'll try and talk him into being a special guest. We don't quite know what's happening with the Nugget Hunt at the moment. But if I have anything to do with it, it will be a giant event. So we may even change the name of it, sort of thing. So we can spark it off as a new event. So yeah. So yes. Yeah. Okay. And this is another bugbear. Particularly, I've got a mate of mine who just will rant and rave and will chase people down with this. But if you need to go to the toilet when you're in the bush, bury it. Dig a hole and bury it. It's not hard. Bury it. Okay? So, toilet paper. There's a bloke I know that will come after you. Right? Even if he's not sure who it is, he'll come after people. So, don't worry about that. So, Richard's in the house from Glendon's. fantastic spot. Yes, so if you're looking for a place to go, there was a nice piece come out the other day. Rodney got a nice piece out there, so well done, Rodney. It is definitely, Damien, it's definitely worth going to Glennon's for a swing. Yeah. Right, I'm just going through some comments here. Yes, there's lots of that, people finding toilet paper in the bush. I just hate it. So, yeah. Palmerville, I will have big news with Palmerville in the next couple of weeks. We're still doing our tours, but I think we're doing our tours. It hasn't been 100% confirmed yet, but we're trying to get our tours up and running. But before that happens, the station owner will be opening up the fossicking stuff, so we've got to wait for that to happen. And so Palmerville looks like it's open. We're helping the landlord to get it going and what have you. It'll be very, very interesting to open up that goldfield. So there's lots of things to work out with traditional owners. It's a working cattle station, so they've got to put in fossicking areas, and then the fossicking areas need to be moved when they're mustering, so there'll be fossicking areas that'll move around. It is going to be, there's a lot of moving parts. So, and to do it safely with insurances and, just to do a check-in system in the middle of the bush with no mobile reception is just it's good. So, but anyway, we're helping out with that, and we'll get that moving. So, so Julian, I think that answers a few questions. So, blue bowls will be back in stock. They'll be coming through. I'm not 100% sure on the stock situation of them. The world's greatest blue bowls. It'll be great. So, yeah. When Palmerville opens, I've said that I'll go up there and help. So we might have a gold diggers. We should have a gold diggers campfire or a gold diggers special event or something or other. So it'll be good. So I'm looking forward to Palmerville. So be nice to get onto some ground. Well, not virgin ground. It's been mined for years, but it'll be good to get onto some ground that, well, it's my understanding and what I've seen of it is that it's actually very similar to Warwick. So there'll be areas there that have no gold. That just don't have any gold, right? And then there'll be areas like Warwick, and I would assume most goldfields, although I haven't been to every goldfield, I would assume it's exactly the same. But, these 3 creeks here will be holding gold, the next 6 might not be. And it's very, very, very similar sort of thing. Right, so, yes, I'm hoping. I would love to be up there all season, but obviously I can't be. I've got too many things going on. Right. Don't bury a 5-cent coin or a 20-cent coin in the bottom of your hole when you need to do a number 2. Goodness gracious me. It's a funny joke, but yeah. Paul Manning. Was Paul Manning asking a question? I missed a question apparently. I will come back to these questions and answer. Yes. Right. Okay, so I don't know where Paul's question is. So, Paul, I will scroll through and get it unless you answer it again. Jason's singing us a song. Righto, don't forget, if you're just tuning in, tonight's prize, one for YouTube, one for the Facebook. I've just dropped one on the floor. Our gemstone pay dirt bags. These are little, I've got a lot of tumbled gemstones in them. The bigger versions of these have geodes and all sorts of other mineral specimens in them, sort of thing. So there'll be lots and lots of cool stuff. Fossicking permit is $57 in Queensland for a year for a single. I've dropped something. I could feel it. So also in the price, so not only do you get little gemstone pay dirt bags, snuffer bottle, pan, magnifying glass, vial, and a little pair of squeezy tweezers, although you can use that if you like. So that goes in that black bag, right, and we will throw that bag of gemstones pay dirt in there, sort of thing. So that's the prize, one for YouTube, one for Facebook. All you need to do to enter a prize is make a comment. That's it. So, yeah. Yeah. So, yes. Right. Let's just have a look and see whether... Paul, was that the question? $57? Yes, $57. You will need to have a fossicking permit to go to Palmerville. It will be a guaranteed. There's a whole lot of criteria that we need to... that the landowners asked for that we'll be putting in place and helping out with that. So it will be, yeah. So, yeah. So, how deep down is the range of metal? So, Amanda, how deep down is the range of a metal detector before they detect gold? So, this is a real beginner's subject, and we've got to get on to that Oz at War. But, so, metal detectors, the depth is dependent on size, right? So, if we were to take 800, it would probably detect a 44-gallon drum at 1.5 meters, right? I don't know. I've never detected a 44-gallon drum. I'm guessing here. I'm using unrealistic targets. Let's say find a Toyota at 1.5 meters. That's a big target. So it'll find a Toyota at 1.5 meters, but it might only find something the size of 3 or 4 pinheads on the surface, right? So depth is dependent on size. So yes. So it really does depend. So yes. Right. There's some skull faces tied. Right. Richard, we'll talk about that. I want to come and see you next week or this week. What's your thoughts, Steve? That's who I want to get to. Steve, what's your thoughts on the Gold Monster for a starter? Very, very good machine for a starter. In that range, you've got the Gold Monster Equinox, XPORX, Fisher Gold Bug, although that's pretty old-fashioned. So all those machines are about the same price. Even Garrett AT Max, if you know how to run it. The trick is you got to know how to run it. You got to know how to listen to it, right? Forget about numbers. You got to listen to it, and you've got to pick the right spots to go. Old mullock heaps, creek beds, that sort of thing. Once you get up on the flats, right, you don't have enough depth to punch down like the PI machines do. So if you pick your spots, you can be quite successful with it, mate. So it's a good starter machine. Do you need a fossicking permit for the lease? Technically, yes, Matty. You need a fossicking permit anywhere. Mick, you need a fossicking permit in New South Wales. to go on the state forest land that's dedicated aside. I believe, unless they've changed it last time I looked, I believe you can fossick on private property without one. But get one. It adds to the hobby. They're not overly dear. So, yes. Peter, my 6000 turned off 4 times. Had to factory reset it to fix. That's odd, mate. If that keeps happening, you need to take it back to where you got it from and get it fixed. Because that's not right. Right. Dean, Palmerville is a hot, nasty place. Can be hot, very harsh, but the sweetest of all things, the gold is there. So, Gary's in the house. So that's good. Gary's in the house. Nice to see. Yes. So, Captain Blood makes a good point on Palmerville, right? Palmerville and a lot of those places in North Queensland and other remote goldfields can be a bit like the Wild West. And you do need to be a bit careful going into some of these really remote places. You need to know where you're going, what you're doing, all this sort of thing. So you don't step on someone's leash, you don't do all these sort of things, right? So what's happened with Palmerville in the last couple of years is new owners have it. And they are progressively cleaning up the place. The place is getting much, much better. So you still have to be pretty cautious. And, yeah, so, but it's, yeah. So, yeah, it is good. So, right. Righto. So I'm catching up on the questions here, looking at the comments. Yes, the 6000 is not waterproof. It's rainproof. I've used it in the heavy rain. Yes. So, so most of the fossicking permits are online now, sort of thing. So make sure that's, you've got to be a bit careful with that advice. So Mick Shaw says a lot of freshwater creeks to cool off in far north Queensland. So the problem with that is the crocodiles. They like having a feed. And so they push up into these freshwater creeks and they will not leave. So for instance, I heard a report the other day that they think they've got a salty up in the freshwater dam, probably about 6 or 7 kilometres from the main Palmer River, in the house dam, because they're finding all the freshwater crocs chomped in half. So they think they've got a salty in there, and because of the freshwater crocs and the barra that are in there, that croc's never going to leave, right? So, yeah, you've got to be a bit careful up there, because there's some bitey creatures up there that are pretty unforgiving. Think crocodiles and taipans. So, yes. Righto, let's get on to this next subject here. I just want to get over to. I just want to have a quick chat to inspire people's thoughts about relics again. We're talking a lot about 6000s, gold prospecting, all that sort of thing. However, this is a website called Oz at War. It's one of my favourite websites, right? Let me just bring it down a fraction so you can see so it's Oz at War, right? Just a fantastic resource for any activity, warlike activity in Australia. So there is stacks and stacks. Look at that. You can even get a USB stick now with what's it got on it? Airfields, all that sort of stuff. But you can track down a few military units, military clamps. I always go to this one. And if you go to, let me just find one here I know has got maps and all that sort of thing. There's a lot of different stuff here. This is Camp Cable. You can't get on there. It's private property. In fact, this section here is actually built over by houses, or is about to be built over by houses. So it's maps of where the old divisions are, like a lot of the stones, who was there, the Red Arrows, 32nd Infantry Division. That was an American Army base. Bogger Road Jail, here's one. Lots of information about Bogger Road. Is Sturt Prison, talks about Sturt Prison in Townsville. But there's loads and loads of information there. So if you are chasing stuff about World War II stuff, I actually want, if you are going to get on there, I would like you to have a look at the Brisbane line. A very, very interesting article about what MacArthur and the generals put together as a worst case scenario if the Japanese invaded North Queensland. And basically, they were going to give up the north end of Australia. They were going to draw a line between Brisbane in the east and Perth, and they were going to give up the north, right? So, and then they could go in and do, what do they call it here? Scorched earth. They were just going to absolutely annihilate it. I can't see where it says that there. So, and there is some controversy whether that actually happened or not, but some harsh country to get from, say, Darwin through to Brisbane, that's for sure. So, so fantastic stuff there. And there is a wealth of information there. You can talk about, there's all sorts of stuff here. Archerfield at war. So the Archerfield quarry. These are the quarries, and apparently they dumped half of the American equipment in there. Everything from choppers to planes and all sorts of stuff. So I don't know whether you can access it or not, but it'd be a sensational magnet fishing spot if you could access it. So there's some pretty cool stuff there. So guys, if you're into World War II or want to go detecting around you, it's not just Brisbane. I just know Brisbane. So, it's, if you were to go, we scroll down here past Brisbane, Queensland, what do we got there? New South Wales, there's a whole stack of information on New South Wales, Camp Prospect, maps, camps, where the camp was, 738th Battalion. This looks like an MP, a military police battalion. So lots and lots of information all across the country. It covers the whole country. The Territory, Tasmania. So all across the country. So a fantastic little resource that you really should have a good look at if you're into that sort of thing. So, right. So, Terry, his dad was based at Darwin doing surveys, putting in the seaplane airstrips. Yeah, mate. Have a look at that. There's probably some. There's also there's a lot of stuff going on there. Aussie Alchemist, hearing a lot of rumours, Ambley Air Force Base being relocated to area between Leeburn and Dalby. I haven't heard anything about that. Haven't heard anything about that at all, really. But let me tell you, I get it, right? Because that whole Durakai Forest area is used as there is military Air Force jets over the top of that area all the time. So, in fact, I think that I'm one of the only visible structures in that forest. And a couple of times, I will guarantee you they were doing bombing runs, obviously fake bombing runs, on the camp, on the mining lease, because they will come in at tree level, right? And then over the top of the camp, go straight up. It is, yeah, it's, yeah, if you got your headphones on, you're detecting, right? And the first thing you hear is the machine starting to play up, and then these things come over the top of you, whack. Just, yeah, it, yeah. I don't know about any about that. The biggest problem we've got there out at Jurakai, I'm going to show you a map here. Since we're talking so much about the... Actually, you can come with me. Let me just... And it's surprising that no one is talking about this, right? So, I've been talking about it now for about 6 or 8 weeks, right? So, the McIntyre Wind Farm, right? No, I'm on the wrong page here. McIntyre Wind Farm. Here we go. So, this is like, this is a big lump of a thing, right? So we'll scroll down here. Here, look. So this is the map, right? Here's Jurakai Forest, right? The pink area is the wind farm. So Fossicking area up here, Fossicking area through here, Fossicking area down here, right? So if you can't tell me, if you're going to tell me that these wind turbines, right, aren't going to put in EMI through that entire forest, right? And so let's just have a look at the size of these things, right? So, where is it? Here we go. General information, right? Tip height, 285 metres. These are the biggest wind turbines made in the world, right? 1,026 megawatts, right? Be done. They're starting work on it now, 2024, right? 180 of them. 5.7 megawatt towers, right? This is the area, right? Carbine Road, Fossicking area, right there, right? This is your Jurakai, Fossicking area, right? Down here, right? It is surrounding it's surrounding that forest. Where all the gold is, it's going to be I think it's going to be a disaster for out there. But, yes, I don't know what we can do about it now, but I reckon we're going to struggle to run a machine out there is what I think. So, yeah. So has anyone... This is a question to the group. Has anyone done any detecting around wind turbines? So, yes. So, yes, I'm very interested in that. How the wind turbines. If anyone's detected around wind turbines, I want to get the yeah. So Maddie reckons shielded cable will be right. They won't care. Rebecca's right. They won't care. Yeah. So yes. No, the wind turbines. Let me just get it up here again. The wind turbines are in the pink area. The Fossicking areas are through here, here, and here. My only concern is that we're within 2 kilometres of the wind turbines. That's really what my concern really is. Righto. Yeah, they won't let us on the property, right? Oh, there we go. GemQ had turbines 2 kilometres away 2 weeks ago. Didn't notice them on the 6,000. Awesome, mate. Awesome. So that's good news. It may not be anything to worry about. So that's excellent news. So, yeah, well, Cam and Sonny, the double D on the 6,000 with any EMI is going to be sensational. Right, guys, we're just about at the end of the show. We're about to close this off. I've got to get the thing all set up here. I'm going to use this other computer tonight because it's much seems much smoother to do that. We'll just refresh this because I haven't got a live here. So, Scotty McGregor, buy 6,000 is what you're hearing. If you're buying a new machine now and money is not an object, I would be putting a deposit down on a 6,000 somewhere, because let me tell you, it is a cracking machine. So, absolute cracking machine. So, yeah, absolutely cracking machine. So, let's just hang on a tick. Let me just get this loaded here. Right. Just give me a minute. I've just got to go and fix something. I'll be 30 seconds, right? I won't be a moment. Sorry guys, the computer that's got the comment picker on it wasn't connected to the internet. Just had to reset the internet. So here we go. So let's just get this going here. Sorry guys, operator error, schoolboy stuff. We can actually do the YouTube one very simply because it's on the other machine. So the winner tonight on YouTube, which is obviously a mini the mini pan kit and the gemstone bag, right? Mini pan kit and the gemstone bag is let's get this going here. That's loading now, thank God. That is going to Aussie Alchemist. Aussie Alchemist is a familiar face and a frequent reader. Mate, you got one of these. You need to contact me. I can't contact you on YouTube, of course, so you'll have to contact me. Congratulations, Aussie Alchemist, and thank you for your support. And then let me get this going here. Get this fired up here, and let's just have a look here. Righto, here we go. So for Facebook, for the same prize, John Freeland, I don't have covers for the 6,000 as yet, working on it. So for the gemstone bag and the starter kit, it goes to Mick Train. Congratulations, Mick Train. You won a prize, so well done. Right, so now, is there any questions here? Notice the double ticker, it's the super sensitive on the left hand side and hardly any single on the right. Oh, that's interesting. I'll have to have a look at that. You couldn't ground balance. Where was that? Oh, it went. So Cam and Sonny, you just, I think it's Cam and Sonny. You just asked a question and I've lost it, right? So that seemed like something odd. So I will come back to you on that. If you don't hear from me, just give us a ring in the shop tomorrow and I'll be able to sort that for you. Righto, guys. Thanks very much for a great evening. Big show again next week. We're going to have some cool stuff to mess with next week. I got this sneaking suspicion I can get my bum into gear and get that organised, and we'll have some cool stuff. Righto, guys. Thanks very much. Thanks for your support. I really appreciate it. If you need any help with any detecting gear, just give us a ring at the shop or email me on the email up there that's hard to read at the moment because it's got a orangey background. So, righto, guys. See you next week. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks guys for watching. Remember to like, share and subscribe and call us on the Daylight Helpline. See you next time.